Ready for another round? It's Brewsday Tuesday. Here's DreZ and Big Nate.
Ah, there it is. There's that sound. It is Brewsday Tuesday, once again brought to you by the Cellar Restaurant and Six Pack Store in downtown Blacksburg. We got Jason and Jason from JH Bards just right on up the road here in Fairlawn as well. You can get some awesome booze, and as great as that vodka was, I think everybody sitting here in this room right now can attest that they do like. Is that some feedback, or is that a plane going overhead or something?
Someone stole their catalytic converter. That's the only thing I can conclude.
We're in this talk studio, so I'm sure there's going to be some technical issues, but nothing that a little whiskey can't fix. So you just handed me the Virginia Straight Bourbon. We're starting with the bourbon. So this is just the straight up bourbon that you guys have, right?
Absolutely.
Over there, right?
Yeah.
I see it's 42%, so that makes it 84 proof. This is a sample only, so I can't resell it or anything. So
I know that's exactly what you're going to do.
have to drink it. I mean, what else can I do?
It's the better option anyway.
No diggity doubt about that. So, so whiskey is more. Is that both of y'all's favorite style of spirits?
Without a doubt, yeah.
Yeah. How long y'all been drinking whiskey? Longer than you've been making it, I assume.
Much longer. Yeah, it's been it's my go-to for decades now.
And are you specifically bourbon oriented, or you equal opportunity when it comes to whiskey?
Yeah, kind of equal opportunity, but I typically roll straight for the bourbon as my go-to.
Okay. So, I mean, obviously you'd be biased. Bourbon other than your own, what's your go-to? What's your favorite?
It's kind of two different ones. Elijah Craig is a great whiskey, and I'm also a huge fan of pretty much anything that Michter's is putting out these days.
Okay. What about you?
Michter's all the way.
Michter's.
They do a great job.
Okay. All right. Everybody's liking the Nate, do you want to chime in here?
Here I am all trashy with my Evan Williams white label.
At least you're going with the high-proof stuff.
Yeah.
See, I'm a fan of the Buffalo Trace. I think that's
like Buffalo
quality and at a great price point. When you can get it around here, I do like the Buffalo. And so what can you tell me about this guy right here?
This is a two-barrel blend that we do. It's a blend of a 2-year and a 4-year barrel. We put those together. The 2-year provides a lot of that youthful sweetness and typical bourbon flavors right out of the gate. And the 4-year gives you a little bit more influence on the finish where that smoke in the barrel comes through.
Okay. So, all right, I know you brought a few different whiskeys that we're going to try. How many total do you all have? What's your whole line of spirits? I mean, obviously, is it just the one vodka, I assume?
Yeah, we just do the one vodka, then we do a bourbon. We do 2 different ryes. One of those rye whiskeys is a limited release that we do only a few times a year, and we do a single barrel blend of that.
I'm guessing that's not one you brought with you today, unfortunately.
We are sold out of the second batch.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it went quick.
Yeah.
And then we also do a single malt whiskey, which we'll talk a little bit more about here coming up, a barrel strength version of that single malt as well. And then we have our maple whiskey.
Oh, maple. You hear that, Nate?
Yeah.
Breakfast.
I mean, that's obviously what it's for. You get it with some bacon and you're set.
So I'm sitting here, and I've been trying to ask you questions long enough so I can really properly do the tasting. Because I know when it comes to whiskey, you know, I like to do the little sift. You like to get the smell, get the notes in there. And if you have time where you don't have to talk on the radio, you like to leave it in your mouth a good bit and swish it and swash it and all that
Okay,
sort of
so I
jazz.
thought I was crazy for doing that, but like I always try and like leave it on my tongue to really...
Oh, absolutely.
What's the proper methodology? What am I doing wrong?
Yeah, school the people on a proper way to taste some bourbon.
The way I always teach it is, you know, when you're drinking wine, you put your nose down in the middle of the glass and you sniff up through your nose. When you're dealing with distilled spirits, sometimes that can all you're going to smell is the alcohol. So instead of breathing through your nose, do the same thing, put your nose in the glass, but breathe in through your mouth instead. And when you do that, you can kind of taste the vapors that are arising out of the glass, and that kind of gives you a hint of what's coming next. And then,
should my mouth be in the glass as well?
No, the vapors will just cling to the outside, and as they rise up, and you can just breathe in normally, and it's right there for you.
It does make a difference.
Does whiskey need to be in the glass still to do that? I'm already out there. This is delicious. It went down real quick. Oh man, that is tasty stuff. Like I said, I like bourbon. I'm a big bourbon guy. So I don't know, man. You came out swinging with the bourbon. What else did you bring whiskey wise that we were going to try?
So the next one that we're going to do is our normal quote unquote rye whiskey, the one that's available all the time.
Okay.
It's a 90 proof 2-barrel blend again of two-year barrels. it's a wheated rye, so it doesn't have any corn in there as well. So it's definitely much more of a smoother. There's no sweetness to this whatsoever. So you get that dry rye spice right out of the gate. And then as it goes down, just completely dries your mouth out and begs for you to take another sip and another sip and another sip.
All right. Well, I'm sure that'll be the case. So let me go ahead. Oh, you got it right there for me.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, here's the thing. So, do I need a rinse or anything with this, or should I switch it to this glass?
You can go back and forth. The rye doesn't really require too much of a rinse after the bourbon.
Okay, so we'll just go with that then.
Exactly.
All right, I'll go halvesies with this. Oh, does he got one? Okay.
Yeah.
And then who wants this other?
They came prepared.
I'll take the other half of that.
All right, there you go, sir. Actually, hold on.
Yeah,
Let me get a little bit more.
I know what it tastes like.
There we go. Okay.
It'd be scary if you didn't.
The nice thing about this rye as well is the finish on it. It's got a really super long finish. You're going to be tasting the rye spice on your tongue for 3, 4, 5 minutes after you've taken just one sip of it, and it just clings and lingers on your palate. Jason's favorite sipping whiskey when him and I are just sitting around hanging out, getting worked on after hours. I typically roll with the bourbon. Jason leans on that
So this
rye.
is your go-to?
Yes, it is.
Why is it your favorite?
Really, for the reasons that he said. I mean, I love the finish on it, the drying factor, the complexity that it brings. I love the fact that I can sip it slow and not feel like I have to finish the glass at any good pace. I can just sit there and enjoy it and talk to my buddy and figure out what we're doing next at the distillery. I'm not a huge corn guy either, so I like bourbon. But I don't love the way the sweetness of the corn stands up. I like it more dry.
Too corny. Too corny.
Can't be too corny.
Yeah. So for those that don't know, that's one of the requirements for making it bourbon. Is it needs to be at least 51% corn, correct?
That's correct.
So it's that. So it's the 51% corn. It's got to be made in America to make it bourbon, not just in Kentucky. A lot of people think that, but just as long as it's American. And then I feel like I'm forgetting one other requirement. Am I missing something else?
It has to be aged in a
white oak.
American white oak, correct? And that barrel has to be charred, and it has to be
new too.
Every single time, right? We can reuse the barrels for other applications, but we can't reuse the barrels when we're aging a new batch of bourbon.
So once you do some bourbon, have you gotten to the point where you're dishing out those barrels to, the wineries? I know that they reuse them for different wines, and there's people buy up bourbon barrels once they're used.
Absolutely. We've had a lot of people that are interested in buying our barrels for, a table or something at home for decoration. But what we've done is...
Don't do that. Use it to make more booze.
Use it for what it's for.
More booze.
So we've partnered up with a few different breweries here in the New River Valley. So they've done some barrel aging of their beers. And
beautiful. You want to? Can we find out which ones? Do we know? Have they already been made? Have you tried them?
Yeah. The first one was I think a Scottish ale, right, from Maroon Door.
Oh, yeah.
Turned out great. I think they're sold out of that one already, if I'm not mistaken. We sent 2 barrels over to Bull and Bones over in Blacksburg, and they're doing 2. I think they've got one of them on tap right now. And then we're very anxiously waiting on Moon Hollow to do 2 barrel releases of their. One's a pumpkin ale, farmhouse ale. The other one is I'm losing it. It might be the stout.
I think it's for either an imperial porter or a stout.
I believe it's the imperial porter. Yeah, so
I'm looking forward to that one.
They're on the horizon. It's funny. I was just at the cellar like last weekend, and Mikey was talking about how they're already getting the pumpkin beers. It's just, I was like, it's like Christmas every year. It's earlier and earlier, but you got to get them when you can. So
I can live with rushing fall.
It's not surprising that they're already talking about and getting ready for the pumpkin beers, man.
Yeah,
I'm excited for that, no doubt about it. But I'll tell you what, man.
We wanted to keep our barrels close, let our friends use them, let our partners use them. So
that's great, because then you also get to go and enjoy the beer with it, and you'll be like, you know what?
A benefit.
I didn't do much of the brewing, but I did have a hand in this production, which is really cool, man. How rewarding is it to be able to sit there and drink the spirits that you've made?
It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. And then you sit around with family and friends, and they're enjoying it as well. It's the best part of the job, hands down.
Now, have there been any hiccup scenarios where you've gone through all that and then realized, oh no, this isn't going to work?
We actually had a really great example of that with our the barrel strength single malt that we put out last December. We aged it out. We did a secondary barreling in a toasted barrel and let it sit there for about a half a year, and then we popped the barrel nose or the barrel plug out of it, and all we smelled was tequila. It didn't smell like whiskey at all.
Oh, no.
That's exactly what we thought is, oh no, what have we done wrong? But after it gassed off a little bit and aired out a little bit, the flavors are perfect and they're amazing. But we thought we messed up big time somehow, some way.
So just right off the gate. So that's interesting. So were you able to pinpoint why it seemed that way right off the bat? It just needed time to.
I have no idea why it had that odor to it, but luckily it dissipated a little bit, and it still has a really good nose to it, but it doesn't smell like a bottle of tequila anymore.
Interesting.
It had to be something in the barrel. I mean, that's where it gets all the flavor from, is the barrel. And we have an outstanding barrel partner with Speyside down 81 about an hour. Get all our barrels from them. They do a fantastic job for us, and I can't imagine that's an impurity in the barrel because they inspect all of their wood very closely. But it's just it was amazing to a person. We all pulled out the agave tequila flavor on the nose. It was amazing.
Well, at least it worked out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What did you think of the rye, Nate?
I'll be honest with you. So, with me being usually a bourbon guy, I fully expected that to really be my my standout, knock it out of the park. But that rye is damn good.
It is. I'm right there with you, frankly. Like, I mean, maybe it's because we I mean, if really like bourbon, you sort of like have a more taste for it or whatever. So you kind of branch. Maybe you have this or that. But with the rye, I guess maybe it is my just ignorant tongue, but that just tastes so good to me.
So good.
Honestly, yeah, that was delicious. And now, if I remember correctly, at the tasting that we met at, there was one that I was surprised was even more of a standout. And I'm not sure if you brought it today. I guess we'll find out in the next segment because we're going to take a break. We're going to play a tune. You get to choose it this time around. You have a preference, Jason? You're a rock guy. Come on.
Let's do some Led Zeppelin.
Zeppelin. Can't go wrong. We'll play some Zeppelin, and then we'll drink some more JH Bards whiskey on a special Brewsday Tuesday edition right here on 105.3 The Bear. Stick around.